Good morning, everybody, and I hope if you're watching this during the day that you're having a beautiful day and that you had a great weekend. Today we will be sharing a story as well as a little bit of a personal note. So before we do that, I want to congratulate our JTEX winner, Dr. Alan Shore, who was the seventh person to answer the question correctly last evening. And as we continue to move through the different phases of the how we deal with Corona, we're now in the green phase. We will still continue this great competition every Sunday and Wednesday at 7 p.m. You'll get that text. So if you haven't yet, sign up on our website, jewishcenter.info/JText. Maybe ask your friends to join in. This is becoming a wonderful, exciting 2 moments of the week that bring a lot of joy and fun to our community. jewishcenter.info/JText. So I apologize for missing our Thursday morning broadcast. I had a last minute need that I had to fill for somebody, and I was out of town. And due to technical reasons, I couldn't even pre-record this. So God really wanted us to wait till today for this story. Thursday was the yahrzeit of the Rebbe, the actual yahrzeit of the Rebbe, and I had the following story prepared because I feel it's not just a story about the Rebbe, but it's a story that's really about all of us and what we can do in our Jewish lives and what is required of us as well. So this is the story that was shared by a colleague of mine. He met a Holocaust survivor who grew up in Europe in a Hasidic home and ended up in Auschwitz with his wife, 8 children, and parents. You wouldn't know he grew up in a Hasidic home when you saw him because, as you will see, he had a very interesting story that followed after the Holocaust. So, as I said, this fellow was brought to Auschwitz, to the terrible concentration camp, and finally survived after many, many hard years, and then decided to leave Europe and made it to America. He was alone. His wife and 8 children perished. His parents perished in the Holocaust, and he had no one else with him. So he decided to come to America, as many did, and start a new life, to rebuild. And that's what he did. As soon as he came to America, he dropped anything of faith, anything of Judaism. He wanted to leave that entire part of his life behind him. And he remarried. He happened to have married a Jewish woman, and he started a business, but his life was totally void. Anything Jewish, anything religious, anything that had to do with God. He was done. And his business starts to grow, starts to prosper. As a Jewish immigrant, he went into the shmata business, but did very, very well in selling garments and dealing in the garment industry. But as the circle of life turns, even this business, as well as was going, began to deteriorate and to fall apart. Some bad investments that he's made, and he's actually just about to go bankrupt. And he really doesn't know what to do. And he talks to a friend of his, and he tells a friend of his this whole story, and his friend tells him, the Lubavitcher Rebbe in Crown Heights has helped many people. Doesn't hurt. Go to him, ask him for his advice. He doesn't just give blessings, because he knew his friend wouldn't want to go just to hear a blessing. He hasn't believed in that. But he gives good business advice too. So go ahead. He had nothing to lose. This Holocaust survivor makes an appointment with the Rebbe, and the Rebbe always had a soft spot for the Holocaust survivors because he himself lived through that tragedy and lost members of his own family, besides his own pain and suffering of being on the run through Europe during those terrible years and miraculously making it to America himself. So he spends the time, as he did with every Jew, and he listens to his story, he listens to the business dilemma, and he actually gives him advice. He tells him what in his mind he should do. And as this Jew says, he had some really good advice, surprisingly. And this fellow's about to leave the Rebbe's office. As he leaves, goes to the door, the Rebbe says, Rebbe Yid, whatever his name was, you came and you had a few questions for me. Do you mind if I ask you a few questions? The guy said, sure. He says, let me ask you a question. What do you do to help other Jews? Have you done anything to help other Jewish people strengthen their own Judaism? Are you helping rebuild Judaism while you're here? The fellow looks at the Rebbe in, I won't say shock, but like very discomfort, because he really knew where he stands regarding ideas of religion. What's he going to tell the Rebbe now? And he tells the Rebbe, you know, Rebbe, if you would know my story, you probably wouldn't even talk to me. You probably wouldn't even ask me those questions. If you would know what really happened with me in the bunkers of Auschwitz. The Rebbe says, I don't know. Why don't you share your story? And he tells him what has been on his heart his whole life. And he says, when I went to the camps, I went with my father. And my father, and we all know by now, the rations that each of the Jews had in the camp was very small, little small piece of bread, a little bit of soup, and that was meant to last them for the entire day. And my father always insisted that I take his portion of bread. He wanted his son to be stronger. And I refused. I wouldn't take the bread from my father. I wanted him to eat that bread. And this is how it went from week to week, month to month. We were both very hungry. I was losing pounds every week. By the end, I was 70 pounds. I was nothing, a skeleton. But I would never take the bread from my father, because that little ounce of energy would keep us going, maybe for the rest of the day. One morning, my father says, take the bread, eat the bread. And this time, although I refused, he didn't eat the bread. He left it on the bed and then went to the work and left the barracks and went to work. And I see these two pieces of bread, mine and his. And I don't know, I was just so hungry that I just grabbed both pieces of bread and ate them both, like very quickly, because I knew I didn't want to eat my father's bread, but I ate it. And that day we went through the day. Next morning, they woke us up at 5 o'clock. And I go to wake up my father. I say, Ta, wake up. There's no response. I keep pushing my dad, wake up, wake up. You've got to get to work. No response. Until I realized that Dad isn't getting up anymore. And I felt so guilty, he tells the Rebbe, because I ate his last piece of bread. And I killed my father. And because I killed my father, how can I talk to anyone? Why would anyone talk to me? I was the murderer who took my father's life. Why am I going to be the one who's going to teach people about Judaism when I don't accept it myself? And since then, I can't even face people when it comes to talking about spirituality and Judaism. The Rebbe listens attentively and tells this Jew, my dear friend, we never find ourselves in situations. A very famous lesson the Rebbe taught many people. We put ourselves in situations because every morning we wake up with choices. God gives us a choice to pursue good things or negative things. And it's up to us to choose how we want to proceed. We place ourselves, and we have the ability to place ourselves in positive situations and never, ever to be defined by something negative. And he continues to tell this Jew, you know, Hitler wanted to destroy the Jewish soul. The ultimate revenge that you can have for Hitler is to help to build the soul and build the soul of other Jewish people. And the more the Jewish souls we rebuild and we rehab, the greater our revenge will be for Hitler himself. And you have a choice to lift yourself up out of that negativity and strengthen your soul and strengthen other people's soul. And together move forward with a positive outlook to life. My dear friends, and this fellow continues to tell his shliach, this totally changed his outlook, not only about his relationship with God, but his relationship with other people and his purpose for existence. And this, my friends, is what the Rebbe is all about. Because it wasn't just this individual survivor that had this attitude leaving out of the Holocaust. The entire Jewish people felt decimated. They felt down. They felt lifeless. There was no soul to the Jewish people. There's no excitement about being Jewish. Collectively, the Jewish people were like that individual. And what the Rebbe did in 1950 and on was revive the soul in individual Jews. So collectively, the Jewish soul can be revived. Because the Jewish soul, collective Jewish soul, has an important message, not just to revive its soul, but to revive the soul of creation. And the soul of creation, as we have mentioned so many times in the past, is the presence of a divine energy, a divine purpose. That's what the soul of creation is. And when one Jew's soul is revived and touches another Jewish soul, we can fill our mission of bringing that light to the world to revive the collective human soul, where all lives matter and everything matters and the whole creation matters. We have the ability to look at the creation, the world, as much as it seems like things are falling apart. We are not stuck in that situation. We have the choice to lift that situation. And the choice to lift the situation of the world begins with the choice to lift yourself to your true self, to living your purpose, inspired by a mission to really have meaning in life. And this is something I hope we take with us, continue to build. It's a theme that has been constantly being brought out in the many stories and ideas over the last few months during our broadcast, because this is what it's all about. Appreciating who you are so you could appreciate who others are, and together appreciate what the world is really all about. Not the jungle that it looks like, but the garden that God intends it to be. My dear friends, I want to share with you on a personal level what we're up to at this point. It's been over 100 days, even more, that almost consecutively, day in and day out, we were together every morning or evening talking about ideas to help get us through the challenging times that we're at. But thankfully, we're now in a green phase where things are opening up and things are beginning to be on the road to getting back to normal. We're still not there yet, but our schedules are changing. I know my schedule is changing. My mornings are different now. In just 15 minutes, I have to go outside to greet the campers of camp. We're opening camp today. Smaller, but open. There's a lot of energy, a lot of excitement. So I really need to take this next few days to figure out how we're going to continue our conversations. We were there every morning through phase red, every morning through phase yellow almost. And now we have to figure out what is the right way to be able to connect with everyone during this next phase, because I'm very well aware that not everyone is going out and that these morning sessions are very important for many of you. So I'm not saying it's over. We just have to figure out the right way. As they say, there's two people that fail, those that have no plan and those that stick to the plan. And we just have to figure out what the next phase will do. I got to get a handle on the schedule, got to get a handle on the events that are taking place here. And therefore, over the next week or so, we will not have the live broadcast in the morning. We will not be able to meet this way regularly. And I will figure out a different method that we can get daily inspiration to all those who need it. Because I know personally, these have meant a lot to me. These sessions, preparing for these sessions, has helped me personally navigate the very challenging times that we have gone through. I have grown a lot personally. The very fact that we're here speaking online live is something that I never imagined I would do and want to continue to do. So this is a great thing that we have started and we will continue. I just got to figure out the right way. But you still have other opportunities and other options to connect virtually. If you go on our website, jewishcenter.info/recordings, You will have recordings of most of the stories, ideas, and sermons that we've been doing over the last few months. So you can review them. You can revisit them and rethink the many different ideas that you have thought that inspired you, that inspired you to do this, through these recordings. So if you go on the website, /recordings, you will find everything. But I want to ask you a favor. If you can send me an email at rys@jewishcenter.info, let me know what were the most meaningful parts of this past journey over the last 3 months. What would you like to see going forward? Which themes, which ideas, what these things really meant to you, so that it will help me figure out how we go forward and how we present different ideas virtually to all those for whom this is so meaningful. So please grab a pen, take down my email, rys@jewishcenter.info, and let me know what you think, what you'd like to see, and how we will plan to continue going forward. But even while I'm taking this little break to figure this out, we'll always have more programming. Rabbi Weinstein, Rabbi Blecher, Rosie Weinstein, and many others have programs that we will continue to have present on this website. So we're not leaving you dry. I said it before, figure it out. But for now, it was really been a great journey for the first part of this journey, to be able to connect with you every morning and discuss ideas, inspire each other. And this journey will continue. We're just at the resting area. We're not resting. Work continues. Camp is starting in just a few moments. Classes are continuing. Services are continuing. But as I said before, we are open because we could be open, and many people need our services. But fully respect those that want to hold off a little bit until they come out. And for you, we will continue to be here online. Have a wonderful day. Have a great week. Can't wait to get back on this, probably in a week or so, but we'll definitely be in touch. Have a wonderful day.